Amara slammed her laptop shut and grabbed her phone. "Come on. Come on," she muttered. The numbers on her screen refused to move. 23 views. 23. After 6 hours. She refreshed again. Still 23. Her jaw tightened. This is ridiculous. Just a year ago, her videos would hit 50,000 views before lunchtime. Brands fought to work with her. Followers filled her comments with praise. Now, nothing. Nobody cared anymore. She paced around her apartment, refreshing her analytics every few seconds. The lifestyle content that once made her famous was dying. Morning routines.
Appartement tour.
Shopping hauls. Nobody watched. The algorithm had moved on. And if she didn't figure something out soon, her career would move on too. Her phone buzzed. It was her friend Kelsey. "Hey," Kelsey said. "Did the new video do any better?" Amara laughed bitterly. 23 views. Ouch. Don't say it like that. I'm just being honest. Amara dropped onto her couch. I don't understand. I work harder than half the creators online. Maybe people are tired of the same content. Amara rolled her eyes. So what? I should start dancing in grocery stores.
No.
I'm saying maybe stop obsessing over views. Amara sat upright. Views pay rent, Kelsey. At what point is enough enough? Amara didn't answer, because she knew the truth. Nothing was enough. Not 100,000 followers. Not 500,000. Not 1,000,000. Every milestone felt exciting for a day. Then she wanted more. She ended the call and walked toward her window. That's when she saw him. The man across the hall. Her neighbor, Daniel. He was carrying several large boxes into his apartment. Amara frowned. The boxes looked heavy. Very heavy. Daniel looked around before unlocking his door. Then he quickly disappeared inside. Something about it felt strange. Maybe it wasn't, but it felt strange. Amara instinctively grabbed her phone. Without thinking, she started recording. Daniel emerged a few minutes later. Another box. Then another. Then another. Amara zoomed in. Interesting. Very interesting. She lowered the phone. A thought entered her mind. The kind of thought that should have been ignored. Instead, she smiled. By midnight, she had edited the footage. The title was simple. Something strange is happening in my building. She stared at the upload button. This is stupid. Then she pressed it. The next morning she woke up and reached for her phone. Her eyes widened. 40,000 views. Her heart nearly exploded. No way. She refreshed. 43,000. Then 47,000. Then 50,000. Comments flooded the video. He's definitely hiding something. Watch him carefully. This is creepy. Keep us updated. Amara could barely breathe. For the first time in months, she felt alive. Excited. Relevant. Important. By evening, the video had crossed 200,000 views. She laughed out loud. Finally. Finally. People cared again. Her inbox started filling with sponsorship inquiries. Followers surged. Notifications exploded nonstop. For days she couldn't stop smiling. Then she saw Daniel again. This time he was leaving the building carrying a briefcase. Amara's eyes narrowed. A briefcase? Interesting. She followed him to the parking lot. Hidden behind a pillar, she recorded everything. Daniel got into his car and drove away. That night she uploaded another video. Update. My suspicious neighbor keeps giving me red flags. The views came even faster. 500,000 in 24 hours. Comments became increasingly wild. He's laundering money. Call the police. Something isn't right. Amara knew most of it was nonsense. But she didn't care. Engagement was engagement. Money was money. The next week she built an entire series around Daniel. Every movement became content. Every ordinary action became suspicious. Every video earned hundreds of thousands of views. One afternoon Kelsey visited her apartment. She stared at the analytics on Amara's screen. 3 million views? Amara grinned. Crazy, right? You're seriously still doing this? It's working. Kelsey folded her arms. Do you even know anything about that man? I know what I've seen. You've seen him carrying boxes. Amara shrugged. And that's normal. Maybe. Kelsey sighed. Amara, this feels wrong. Amara's smile vanished. Easy for you to say. What does that mean? You don't understand pressure. Pressure doesn't justify this. Amara stood. You know what? Nobody complained when my channel was dying. I cared. Yeah, but caring doesn't pay bills. Kelsey stared at her. For several seconds, neither spoke. Finally, Kelsey shook her head. Just be careful. After she left, Amara looked through the peephole. Daniel was walking down the hallway. For a moment, their eyes met. Even through the small lens, she could see something. He knew. He knew she had been filming him. A strange feeling settled in her stomach. Guilt. It lasted about 3 seconds. Then her phone buzzed. Another sponsorship offer. $10,000. One campaign. Just like that, the guilt disappeared. A week later, things got worse. Or better, depending on who you asked. Daniel became recognizable online. People started sharing screenshots, posting theories, making reaction videos. One creator accused him of criminal activity. Another claimed he was hiding stolen money. The rumors spread faster than Amara expected. One evening, she opened her comment section and froze. Someone had posted Daniel's address. Her heart skipped. For a second, she considered deleting it. Instead, she closed the app. It's not my responsibility, she whispered. But deep down, she knew that wasn't true. The following morning, Daniel opened his apartment door and found garbage scattered across his welcome mat. Amara watched from inside her apartment. Daniel looked at the mess, looked around, then quietly cleaned it up. No yelling, no complaints, no confrontation. Just silence. For some reason that bothered her more. That night she uploaded another video, and it became the biggest one yet. 5 million views, then 6 million, then 7 million. Money poured into her accounts faster than she could spend it. The series transformed her career. Interviews, podcast invitations, brand partnerships, everything she had wanted, everything she thought would make her happy. Yet every time she saw Daniel walking through the building, she found herself looking away. One rainy evening, she returned home carrying expensive shopping bags. As she stepped out of the elevator, she noticed Daniel struggling with a stack of papers that had fallen onto the floor. For a moment, she almost helped him. Almost. Instead, she pulled out her phone, pressed record, and started filming. She had no idea that this single decision was about to destroy everything she had built. Daniel knelt on the floor, gathering the scattered papers one by one. The hallway was quiet except for the sound of rain tapping against distant windows. Amara stood several feet away with her phone raised. Recording. Always recording. One page slid farther down the hallway. Daniel slowly reached for it. Before he could grab it, Amara zoomed in. Perfect. The image looked pathetic. A lonely old man chasing papers across a hallway. The internet would love it. By morning, she had uploaded another video. Things are getting stranger. The thumbnail showed Daniel kneeling on the floor. The comments arrived immediately. This guy looks guilty. Definitely hiding something. Why is he always carrying documents? Someone investigate him. Amara watched the engagement explode. 8 million views. Then 9. Then 10. Every refresh felt like a drug. Every notification felt like a reward. The money followed. Brand deals doubled, then tripled. A marketing agency offered her a long-term contract worth more money than she had ever seen. When she signed the agreement, her hands trembled. Not from fear, from excitement. That night, she celebrated alone with expensive takeout and champagne. She raised her glass toward her reflection. To success. Yet something about the moment felt empty. Her phone buzzed. A message from Kelsey. We need to talk. Amara ignored it. 2 minutes later, another message appeared. This isn't funny anymore. Ignored. Then another. Call me. Amara finally answered. What? Kelsey's voice sounded frustrated. Have you looked at what's happening online? What specifically? People are harassing that man. I can't control strangers. You started this. I posted videos. You posted misleading videos. Amara rolled her eyes. Here we go again. I'm serious. So am I. No, you're not listening. Kelsey, my career is finally back. And what if you're wrong about him? Amara laughed. What if I'm right? Silence. Then Kelsey spoke quietly. You're gambling with someone else's life. The call ended. For the first time in weeks, Amara felt irritated. Not because Kelsey was wrong, because part of her feared Kelsey might be right. She pushed the thought away. The next morning, a black SUV pulled into the apartment parking lot. Two people stepped out. They approached Daniel. Amara immediately grabbed her phone. Oh my God! She began recording from her balcony. Daniel spoke briefly with the visitors. Then all three entered the vehicle and drove away. Amara's pulse raced. This was gold. Absolute gold. Within hours, she uploaded a video. Who are these people? The internet exploded. Theories multiplied. Government agents. Secret investigations. Financial crimes. Witness protection. The comments became more ridiculous with every hour. And the views became bigger. 12 million. 15 million. 20 million. Her subscriber count surged past 2 million. Then 3 million. Then 4 million. People everywhere knew her name. Brands called daily. Journalists requested interviews. Creators begged for collaborations. For the first time in her life, she felt unstoppable. Then something happened. Something she didn't expect. Daniel knocked on her door. 3 soft knocks. Amara froze. Another knock. She stared at the door. For several seconds, she considered pretending not to be home. Then she opened it. Daniel stood there holding a small package. Up close, he looked older than she remembered. Tired. Worn down. But calm. Always calm. Hello, Amara. Her throat tightened. Daniel glanced at the phone in her hand. Then back at her. I won't keep you long. She waited. He held out the package. I think this was delivered to the wrong apartment. Amara looked at the label. Her name was on it. Oh, she took it. Thank you. Daniel nodded. Neither moved. Finally he spoke. Can I ask you something? Amara's stomach dropped. What? His eyes met hers. Not angry. Not hostile. Just disappointed. Have I done something to upset you? The question hit harder than she expected. For a second she couldn't speak. Daniel continued. Because lately it feels like people are watching me. Amara forced a laugh. I don't know what you mean. Daniel studied her face. For a moment she thought he might accuse her. Instead he sighed. Never mind. Then he walked away. Just like that.
No confrontation. No threats. No anger.
Nothing. And somehow that made her feel worse. That evening she couldn't focus. His question replayed endlessly. Have I done something to upset you? She opened social media. Thousands of new notifications. Thousands of comments. Thousands of strangers praising her. The guilt disappeared again. A week later, the situation escalated dramatically. Someone spray-painted accusations on Daniel's parking space. Another person left threatening notes near his apartment. Videos about him appeared everywhere. Some creators used her footage. Others invented stories completely. Daniel became a public villain despite nobody knowing anything about him. One afternoon, Amara watched from her window as Daniel discovered another hateful message taped to his door. He stared at it for several seconds, then slowly removed it. His shoulders looked heavier than before. Defeated. For the first time, Amara felt a sharp stab of discomfort. But before she could dwell on it, her phone rang. It was her manager. You're not going to believe this. What happened? Major network wants an interview. Amara nearly screamed. Seriously. They love the Neighbor series. Her heart pounded. A national interview. This was bigger than anything she imagined. The interview aired 3 days later.
Million watched.
The host asked questions. Amara answered confidently, laughing, smiling, building suspense around Daniel. The audience loved it. Her popularity reached a new level. That same night, she returned home feeling invincible. Until she noticed something strange. Daniel's apartment door was open. Boxes filled the hallway. More boxes than she'd ever seen. Moving boxes. Amara slowed her steps. Her excitement faded. The next morning, the apartment was empty. Daniel was gone.
No goodbye. No announcement.
Nothing. Just gone. Amara stared at the vacant apartment. Confusion flooded her mind. She checked social media.
No updates. No sightings.
Nothing. The man who had fueled her success had disappeared. At first she saw opportunity. Another chapter. Another viral update. Another huge video. She immediately started filming the empty apartment. The neighbor vanished. The upload shattered records. Millions watched within hours. Everyone wanted answers. Where did he go? Why did he leave? What was he hiding? But for the first time, Amara didn't have a clue. She spent days searching for information, talking to neighbors, questioning building staff, digging through public records. Yet every answer created more questions. One resident said Daniel often helped elderly tenants carry groceries. Another described him as generous. Someone else said he paid for a struggling family's rent during a difficult period. The stories didn't match the image she had built. Not at all. Late one evening, she sat reviewing old footage. Frame by frame, video by video, searching for something she had missed. Then her eyes landed on a photograph hanging inside Daniel's apartment. A photograph she had never paid attention to before. She zoomed in. Her heartbeat slowed, then stopped. The image showed Daniel standing beside several well-known public figures, receiving some kind of award. Amara leaned closer. What is this? For the first time since the series began, genuine fear entered her mind. Because she suddenly realized something terrifying. After months of filming him, after millions of views, after building an empire around his life, she still had absolutely no idea who Daniel really was. Amara barely slept that night. The photograph stayed on her mind. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Daniel standing beside important-looking people, accepting an award she couldn't identify. Something wasn't adding up. For months, she had convinced herself she understood him. The quiet neighbor, the suspicious man, the mysterious figure. But now, for the first time, she realized those weren't facts. They were assumptions. Assumptions that had made her millions. The next morning, she sat in front of her laptop before sunrise. Coffee untouched. Phone ignored. She uploaded the photograph into multiple search engines. Nothing. Then she zoomed in further. There was a plaque in Daniel's hands. The image quality was poor, but a few words were visible. Investigative excellence. Amara froze. Her stomach tightened.
No.
She zoomed again. The words became clearer. Investigative Journalism Award. Her pulse quickened. She immediately opened dozens of browser tabs.
News archive.
Old articles. Professional directories. Anything. 20 minutes later, she found him. Daniel Mercer. Retired investigative journalist. Amara stared at the screen. Her mouth slowly opened. The article featured a younger version of Daniel. The same face. The same eyes. The same calm expression. Except this article wasn't describing a criminal. It was praising a hero. She clicked another article. Then another. Then another. Each one felt like a punch to the stomach. Daniel had spent decades exposing corruption, fraud, political scandals, corporate crimes, human trafficking networks, financial scams, stories that had protected countless people, stories that had changed lives, stories that mattered. The deeper Amara dug, the worse she felt. One article described how Daniel's investigation had helped free innocent people who had been wrongly accused. Another detailed how his reporting exposed officials stealing funds meant for struggling communities. Another credited him with uncovering a criminal operation that had victimized hundreds of families. The evidence was overwhelming. Daniel wasn't suspicious. Daniel wasn't dangerous. Daniel wasn't hiding from anyone. He was respected, admired, accomplished. Amara pushed away from her desk.
No.
She stood started pacing.
No.
No,
No.
this couldn't be happening. She opened social media. Millions of people still believed the narrative she created.
Millions.
Her videos were still generating views, still spreading rumors, still convincing strangers that Daniel was something he wasn't. For the first time since the series began, she felt genuine panic. Not discomfort, not guilt, panic. Her phone rang. Her manager, Amara, answered immediately. Have you heard from Daniel? What? Daniel? Why would I hear from him? He was a journalist. Silence. What? He was a famous journalist. Another pause. Then her manager laughed nervously. So what? Amara didn't respond. Her manager's laughter faded. What aren't you telling me? Amara explained everything. The articles, the awards, the investigations, the respected career. When she finished, silence filled the line. A long silence. Finally, her manager spoke. That's not good. Amara felt sick. Not good. This could become a problem. Could? Amara already knew it was a problem. A massive one. That afternoon things got worse. Much worse. A small media blog published an article. The headline made her blood run cold. Internet star's viral neighbor was actually award-winning journalist. The story began spreading immediately. At first only a few people noticed. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Then tens of thousands. By evening larger outlets picked it up. Questions started appearing online. Had Amara misrepresented him? Had she exaggerated the videos? Had she manipulated viewers? The comments changed tone overnight. People who once praised her suddenly sounded different. Suspicious. Critical. Angry. Amara refreshed her page repeatedly. Each refresh made things worse. Her inbox flooded with messages. Not support. Questions. Demands. Accusations. Her phone rang constantly. She stopped answering. The following morning she woke up to a nightmare. The story had exploded. Several respected journalists published detailed breakdowns of Daniel's career. Former colleagues shared stories about him. People he had helped came forward. Families, victims, community leaders. One woman appeared in an interview holding back tears. If it wasn't for Daniel, she said, my family would have lost everything. Another man said, he spent years helping people who couldn't help themselves. Another called him one of the most ethical journalists he'd ever known. The internet listened, and suddenly everyone began asking the same question. Why had Amara targeted him? She had no answer. At least not one she could say publicly. Because the truth sounded horrible. She had done it for views. For money. For attention. That evening she met Kelsey at a coffee shop. The moment Kelsey saw her face, she knew something was wrong. You found out. Amara nodded. Kelsey sat down slowly. Who was he? Amara looked exhausted. He was everything I wasn't. What do you mean? He spent his life helping people. Kelsey remained silent. Amara stared at the table. I turned him into entertainment. Tears began forming in her eyes. The first tears since the controversy started. I didn't even know him. Kelsey sighed. I warned you. I know. You should have stopped. I know. You should have listened. I know. The words came out almost as whispers. Because there was nothing left to argue.
No excuses.
No defense.
No justification.
Everything Kelsey had said was true. For a moment neither spoke. Then Amara looked up. What do I do now? Kelsey didn't answer immediately. Because there was no easy solution. Eventually she said quietly, tell the truth. Amara nodded. But telling the truth turned out to be harder than expected. That night she recorded an apology video. Then deleted it. Recorded another. Deleted that too. Nothing sounded sincere. Nothing felt adequate. How do you apologize for turning someone's life into a spectacle? How do you apologize to millions of people you misled? How do you apologize to a man who never fought back? The next morning she uploaded a statement anyway. Within minutes it was being torn apart. Some viewers accepted it. Most didn't. Comments poured in. You only care because you got caught. Too late. This apology is for sponsors. Not buying it. The backlash intensified. Then came the real disaster. The sponsors started leaving. One company announced it was ending its partnership. Then another. Then another. By the end of the week, 7 major deals had disappeared. Millions of dollars vanished almost overnight. Amara watched email after email arrive. Termination notices. Contract cancellations. Partnership withdrawals. Every notification felt like another brick falling from a collapsing building. And the collapse had only just begun. Because somewhere beyond the headlines, beyond the backlash, beyond the angry comments, a much bigger revelation was about to emerge. One that would completely destroy the last pieces of her reputation. Amara stared at the email for nearly a minute before opening it. Her hands were shaking. At this point, every new message felt like bad news. Every notification felt dangerous. Every phone call felt like another disaster waiting to happen. She clicked. The subject line made her stomach sink. Request for comment. Another news organization. Another investigation. Another article. She closed her eyes. Just a few months earlier, reporters wanted interviews because she was successful. Now they wanted interviews because she was falling apart. The difference was painful. Her manager called moments later. We have a serious problem. Amara laughed bitterly. We've had serious problems for weeks.
No.
Bigger than that. Her heart sank. What happened now? The pause on the other end was long. Too long. Then her manager spoke. Someone released evidence. Amara froze. What kind of evidence? Editing files. Her blood ran cold. What? The raw footage. For a moment she couldn't breathe. The raw footage. The clips nobody was supposed to see. The original videos before she edited them. Before she rearranged moments. Before she removed context. Before she added dramatic narration. Before she turned ordinary events into suspicious ones. Her manager continued. The footage is everywhere. Amara felt dizzy.
No.
People are comparing the originals to your uploads.
No.
They're showing exactly what was changed. Amara lowered herself into a chair. The room suddenly felt smaller. Hotter. Harder to breathe in. The raw clips spread across the internet like wildfire.
Million watched.
Millions compared. Millions realized the truth. Daniel carrying boxes? The original footage showed him helping a local charity move donated supplies. Daniel meeting strangers? The original footage showed him meeting former colleagues. Daniel carrying documents? The documents were research materials connected to a community project. Every suspicious moment suddenly looked normal. Because it had always been normal. The only suspicious thing had been the story wrapped around it. And that story belonged to Amara. The internet erupted. This time there was no debate.
No uncertainty.
No gray area. People had proof. The evidence was clear. She hadn't simply misunderstood Daniel. She had knowingly exaggerated events, twisted narratives, manipulated perceptions. The trust she spent years building vanished almost overnight. Subscriber counts began dropping. Thousands every hour. Then tens of thousands. Then hundreds of thousands. Amara sat in silence watching the numbers fall. For million, 3.9 million, 3.8, 3.7. The decline never seemed to stop. Every refresh felt like watching pieces of her life disappear. The following week was even worse. A major network aired a special segment. Several journalists discussed the controversy. One statement hit harder than all the others. A veteran reporter looked directly into the camera and said, Daniel Mercer spent decades protecting innocent people from false accusations. Ironically, he became the victim of one. Amara immediately looked away from the television. The words hurt because they were true, painfully true. For days she avoided social media, avoided interviews, avoided friends, avoided reality. But reality kept finding her. The apartment that once felt exciting now felt empty. The expensive furniture, the luxury purchases, the designer items. None of it brought comfort anymore. She had chased success so aggressively that she never stopped to ask herself what kind of person she was becoming. Now she had the answer, and she hated it. 3 weeks later, another package arrived. No return address, no note attached, just a small box. Amara stared at it cautiously. Something about it felt familiar. She opened it slowly. Inside was a sealed envelope. Her breath caught. Written neatly across the front was her name. Nothing else. She recognized the handwriting immediately. Daniel. Her hands trembled as she opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. A short letter. Nothing dramatic. Nothing angry. Nothing hateful. That somehow made it even harder to read. She unfolded it. The message was simple. Amara, if you're reading this, then the truth has probably come out. I won't pretend your actions didn't hurt. They did. Not because strangers believe things about me, but because I spent my life fighting misinformation, only to become a victim of it. Still, I don't hate you. I've learned that people often make harmful choices when fear and ambition become stronger than character. I believe people can change. The internet rewards attention. Life rewards integrity. One lasts much longer than the other. I hope one day you understand the difference. Daniel. Amara read it once. Then again. Then a third time. Tears streamed down her face. Not because Daniel had attacked her. Not because he blamed her. But because he didn't. After everything she had done. After everything she had caused. He still chose grace. And somehow that hurt more than anger ever could. For the first time in months, she cried without trying to stop herself. All the guilt she had buried surfaced at once. The hallway videos, the rumors, the comments, the harassment, the lies, every decision, every upload, every excuse. The weight became impossible to ignore. Months passed. The headlines slowly faded. The controversy stopped dominating conversations. The internet moved on to newer scandals. As it always did. But Amara didn't move on. Not immediately. Because she understood something now that she hadn't understood before. The damage remained long after the views disappeared. She sold many of the things she bought during the height of her success. Scaled back her lifestyle. Stopped chasing trends. Stopped chasing outrage. Stopped chasing attention at any cost. When she eventually returned to creating content, the audience was much smaller. A fraction of what it had once been. But for the first time, she wasn't measuring success by numbers. She focused on real stories, real people, real experiences.
No manipulation. No manufactured villains. No shortcuts.
Growth was slow, painfully slow, but it was honest. One afternoon, nearly a year after Daniel left, she received an email from someone who had watched her newer content. The message was brief. Thank you for telling stories responsibly. It's rare these days. Amara stared at the screen, then smiled. Not the excited smile that came from viral success. Not the desperate smile that came from chasing validation. A different smile. Quieter one. Because for the first time in years, she felt proud of how she was succeeding. Not just that she was succeeding. There was a difference. And finally, she understood it. The lesson had cost her millions. Her reputation. Her friendships. Her peace of mind. But she had learned it. And some lessons only arrive after everything falls apart. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like these remind us that every choice has consequences, even the ones made behind a screen. And before you go, leave a comment below and tell us honestly. If you were in Amara's position, would you have stopped after the first viral video? Or would you have kept going? Finally, if this story made you think, take a moment to like the video. It helps more people discover these stories and supports the channel tremendously. Remember, attention may be easy to gain, but integrity is much harder to earn. And once it's lost, getting it back can take a lifetime.